Welcome to our daily Forex range bar chart market analysis. My name is Derek Schimming, and this review is for Thursday, March 28th. Now, starting with the currency strength chart, you can see that we're dealing with a somewhat choppy day, a directionless day for many of the pairs, especially if you look at the pound here in the middle, the dollar, the CAD. Really meandering a little bit. The dollar's starting to move down, but for the most part it's been fairly lethargic on the day. The Aussie has been trading down fairly consistently. I think as we get in the later stage of the day, it's lost its momentum already and has definitely seemed to have flattened out. Took a short trade on the Aussie yen earlier, didn't produce the desired results, made a very small gain, and I think it's really more for the fact that the yen really lacks direction right now and the Aussie was losing any momentum. You can see though, and there is a bright spot in here, and I'm going to go focus on, look at the euro as it moves to the upside and the Swiss as it was moving to the upside, and they've lost their momentum, seem to be tapering back. At the same time, the yen has shown strength both before the London markets and during the London time frame, trying to get up and be the most positive trending single currency. It just seems to run out of steam while it's making its trades up, although that may have shifted. And so if you look at just if I isolate the euro and the Swiss as opposing the yen, I think you can see the yen is starting to lift. I anticipate something good there, and the euro and the Swiss probably tapering down. I've got a trade based on that. I'm short the euro yen. Let's look at this. Short the euro yen just from underneath the pivot. If we blow this one up and you look, you'll see that, and if I take it back a little bit in time, if we go back through Tuesday, remember we came down on Monday, we had the sharp drop. On Tuesday we stayed under the pivot. My suggestion then was if the pivot could hold at 120, 160, or worst case scenario 122, it made an attempt to get up there. It got up to 120, 187, so it did go test the 122 range. But then remember yesterday it traded down hard. It was a short trade after all. It produced its most active and best time frame was during the London market, where it made this big move down after bouncing off the pivot, went through the pivot, and that was the short of the day. We got a secondary short during the New York session that was also worth something, and then it got oversold. It really became the retracement or the counter trend trade back into the zone. Today though, this has again consolidated, and we can see how it's hanging out under the pivot point, which is why I've taken the short from below the pivot, have a protective stop in place. So worst case scenario, this thing's going to stop me out with a small gain. Best case, if we're in a low volume day, right in front of the Good Friday holiday, really don't expect too much out of the market for the balance of the day, although volume that does come in can produce a high degree of volatility. So you position yourself in a situation to take advantage of this. We've seen the yen moving up on the days in front of the holidays and going into weekends. We've seen it be able to have some strength under this scenario, and of course we believe that this pair is in a downtrend or trying to stay in a downtrend, even though buyers are coming in and taking advantage of all the pullbacks. But it seems that it's trading down, and that's winning the war. So I think I'm positioned in the right place. The trade is going to be down to 120, possibly down to the low. This came down to 74. The low yesterday, if you remember, got down to 95. And if we go back on Monday, that low came down to 120.07. So that was the first test of this low range, 120.07 back here to 95 and now to 75. And where's the potential of this trade? If it comes down just to 120, it doesn't even have to maintain trend. It could come and find support back in that range, still have a profitable trade on my hands. Very much so. If it goes to test this prior low or trade below it, that gets it below 119. The next time down could produce something even bigger, and I'm in a position to take advantage of that as well. Now, I showed you the Swiss. The Swiss looks like it has the same opportunity unfolding. It's very similar in movement to the euro yen. I talk about the euro yen a lot, but it's really the information that I'm sharing is not just euro yen specific. I repeatedly have said that the pound yen, the euro yen, and the Swiss yen all seem to move in about the same fashion. And scoot back the Swiss yen, you can see the behavior's been very similar to what we've experienced on the euro yen. So focusing on the fact it consolidated on Tuesday, tried to make a run up after rollover and failed, traded down on Wednesday, achieved exactly what we wanted to see. Now it's producing a lower high range, right below the pivot point at this junction, and we're looking at the Swiss and the euro, or at least I'm analyzing and suggesting that the euro and the Swiss may in fact lose their momentum going into the holiday. Now let's look at that a little closer. Let's bring up the currency strength tool, and then what we'll do is just look at a little bit more aggressively plotted time frame, and we'll go to the 5-minute and just look at the Swiss and the euro and the yen, looking at isolating those three currencies as we just did. And I want you to see how my belief is that the euro and the pound, or euro and the Swiss, are in fact losing momentum. You're starting to see them trade to the downside on the currency strength, and we can see how the yen is gaining momentum. This is looking at every pair in one of the largest liquidity pools done electronically throughout the world. So this is brokers and banks and brokers throughout the world and what they're doing electronically. And overall, this is a massive cross-currency analysis, and overall the yen is in fact gaining strength. The Swiss and the euro are in fact starting to soften. The euro probably has the most to lose in this range, so that's why my position trade is in, the swing trade I've taken is in the euro yen short. You can see the same thing happening on the pound, but then you look at the pound yen, and then you look at the euro dollar and the pound dollar, and much choppier. The euros had some flow to it, unlike the pound. Look at that, how I took the pound off of there earlier because of its lack of flow, and you can see why the euro yen, I think the Swiss yen right now today are offering the best opportunity. You know, if you want to know more, if you have some questions, want to have a little bit more detail, drop us an email to info@fxrbc.com. That's info@fxrbc.com. You can come in our trade room. We've got some guest sessions coming up for a couple of weeks. Come in, work with us, take some training classes. You know, ongoing education and daily guidance is a key component to your success as a trader. And our online community, our live and the recorded training sessions, they are all a tremendous tool to advance your knowledge and skills while supporting your efforts long term. And we cordially invite you to join us. You just really shouldn't do this alone, and you're not going to find the Holy Grail by searching the web all the time. You need to find a community or a situation that is going to work well for your personality, using some strategies and tools that make sense to you. And we're inviting you to experience what we do firsthand to see if there's a fit with forexrangebarcharts.com. So drop us an email. Again, info@fxrbc.com. Go to the website, use the comments page. And as always, my name's Derek Schimming, and I hope you have a great day trading. Thanks.